lumber. There's actually a shortage of it now, they're saying. They're having difficulty finding lumber because everybody's fleeing the cities and building homes out in the rest of America.
Right, because credit's easy to come by. So the prices are going up. But if you're a home builder and you want to go buy some lumber, you just put it on credit. And the interest on that credit is factored into the equation of your business model, where you can borrow against the eventual sale, pay down the debt now, and you've got a positive cost to carry. And all that's great until we have a 2008 type credit freeze, as we did in 2008, and that's a guaranteed going to happen probably in 2021. Credit comes to an absolute halt, and forcing a cardiac arrest in the banking system, which will be followed by the defibrillator of money applied directly to the chest. Helicopter money, trillions piped into people's homes instantaneously at the click of a mouse. And that will be yet another chapter in the demise of empire. Uh-oh.
Right. And in the 1970s, we had a supply crisis with oil because we had the oil embargo from the Arab nations that cut off oil to the West. Now we have that similar. You say lumber and the credit, but the fact is there is a genuine supply crunch. That if you talk to builders on this, the market survey did interview dozens of companies and hundreds of companies across America, and builders are having an actual physical problem getting physical supply of lumber. They can't get their hands on any. So therefore you have to delay the house building project, you have to try to find at whatever cost, that cost has to go up in order to shake out some new supply of lumber. So we're seeing similar supply problems, partly perhaps caused by the pandemic, but also because of just the huge rush, sudden rush, not planned for years ago, about what we're seeing now in America. But again, in terms of the comparison to the 70s, back in the 70s, there were a lot of things that were super cheap, right? Like you could live in an apartment very easily. You could hitchhike across America. I think hitchhiking is illegal probably all across America at this point. But there were a lot of things that you could do that were super cheap, and food was real. Like it was before the whole processed food sort of explosion of innovation in that sector of giving you flavored goopy stuff. So, you still got your nutrients relatively cheap compared to what you're getting now. And the unemployment rate, remember we had stagflation back then because inflation and product and goods and services were going up, but the recession was hitting hard and there were a lot of unemployed people. New York City was bankrupt. New York City could be going bankrupt again, by the way. 300,000 people left Manhattan in the last year. So inflation pressures, despite a weak economy and 10 million missing jobs. It is interesting that these price pressures are happening even as the overall economy is not exactly booming, with GDP down 2.8% in Q3 compared to a year earlier, while 10 million jobs have disappeared, according to the BLS jobs report for December, amid a suddenly weakening employment scenario since late last year. You can see that in this chart. But of course, back in the 70s, we didn't have the printing press. Because we had just gone off the gold standard. So the central bank couldn't print money like it can today.